Remembering O.J. in the Trial of the Century 10 years later, by Gregory Clay. The tension was palatable, the anxiety was immense. The date was October the 3rd, 1995. The time was 1:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That was when the court clerk announced that Orenthal James Simpson was found not guilty. It's been 10 years since that Tuesday in a downtown Los Angeles courtroom. Has it really been that long already? We will never forget the stunned look on longtime Simpson friend Robert Cardassian's face during the reading of the verdict. We will never forget the plethora of new words and phrases that emanated during the trial and became so commonplace in the English vernacular, from disingenuous to rush to judgment. The Simpson case essentially set up shop in our conscience for nearly 2 years in the middle of the 1990s. For many, it was unshakable because the courtroom television cameras gave us a daily live shot into the technical and often sensational processes of a modern-day, high-profile trial drama from the good, the bad, the ugly, and the dream team. The trial became more than just that. In fact, the trial appeared lost in the political and celebrity maneuverings. Thanks to Simpson's slick defense team, it became a really ugly referendum on police investigative skills, interracial marriage, racial politics, and the relationship between economic affluence and the American justice system. Everything but whether Simpson actually committed the murders of ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. Regardless of what the criminal jury shamefully told us that day, in reality, Simpson was guilty. The blood and the DNA evidence was overwhelming. We should all know that by now. In 2005, remember, it's the 10th anniversary. So we've had much time to reflect and re-examine. The trial marked the first time we publicly saw the 70-30 racial chasm in this country. In 2005, we see it with Hurricane Katrina polls. NBC's Meet the Press recently displayed a survey that indicated that 70% of black respondents believe that the government's response would have been better for white suburban citizens in Louisiana rather than black urban in New Orleans. Only 30% of white respondents agreed with that. In 1995, we saw a similar pattern with the polls. Approximately 70% of black respondents polled during the trial said that Simpson was innocent. Again, only 30% of white respondents agreed. But one element we didn't see in 1995 was a percentage breakdown based on socioeconomic strata. Did middle-class black folk feel the same way as lower-class black people, or even the upper class? There were no lines of demarcation, at least publicly by the media. However, 10 years ago, we did see the spite factor. It became increasingly obvious that some black people in the United States didn't care about Simpson's guilt or innocence. Some just wanted him exonerated, simply because he killed a white person. Some viewed a Simpson getaway as revenge and retribution for past incidents of horror perpetrated by such groups as the Ku Klux Klan and ardent segregationists during America's Jim Crow era in the South. That hidden spite subtly brought to surface the vastly undercovered issue of black-rooted racism in the United States. We also saw how many of the black citizens suddenly rallied to the defense of Simpson, the Pro Football Hall of Famer and co-star of those silly Naked Gun movies, who, at least from outward appearances, had little or no connection to most of the black community. Suffice it to say, before the trial, you probably wouldn't have expected to see Simpson at the annual NAACP convention. It was obvious some black folk privately were saying, "You hate him, so therefore we have to love him." Simply put, that's called spite. We saw the in-house rift that developed between the Dream Team, attorneys Johnny Cochran and Robert Shapiro. Remember when Shapiro reportedly accused Cochran of playing the race card and dealing from the bottom of the deck? Shapiro, through his publicity agent, declined to comment on the Simpson case. And we saw how a jury apparently totally dismissed the domestic violence issue. Remember juror Brenda Morin's news conference on October 4th, 1995? One segment went like this with the media. Question: what impact did domestic abuse have on your decision? Morin: domestic abuse? To me, that was a waste of time. This was a murder trial, not domestic abuse. If you want to get tried for domestic abuse, go into another courtroom and get tried for that. The domestic issue remains a sticking point here. How do you totally discount the abuse effect in this trial? Still, the rifts, the feuds, the drama in this case, all conspired to foment a new media genre, that of legal shop talk, mainly on cable television. During the trial, attorneys working as media legal analysts on the side, such as Greta Van Stressen, James Curtis, Star Jones, Jeffrey Tobin, Dan Abrams, and Nancy Grace, all used the Simpson case to catapult toward more lucrative and big-time television careers. Besides Simpson, the central figure most recognized in the vortex of the trial of the century was Cochran, who died March 29th of this year. In the end, was he ostensibly more demagogue than attorney? More carnival barker than facilitator of justice? During a keynote banquet speech and a weekend break from the trial at the annual National Association of Black Journalists Convention held in August of 1995 in Philadelphia, Cochran's aim, through his Southern California charm, seemed to be one of rallying support for his cause from black media members, a sort of keynote prep rally that humid night in a downtown hotel in the city of brotherly love. Should that have been surprising to any of us amid the national hype and histrionics in 1995? No, not really. After all, it was billed as the trial of the century, or better yet, referendum drama of the century. In any regard, now we are left to wonder if Simpson can truly find, as only he describes, the real killer, on the golf courses of America no less. Perhaps he can, but only if the 1968 Heisman Trophy winner brings a mirror along with his 9-iron, that's 9 lives too.